and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking up time from your busy schedules and joining us this morning. My name is Dr.V.K.Singh and I'll be your MC for this day. Before we begin, can we have a big round of applause for ourselves, please? A very good morning to everybody present here. On behalf of Women in Aviation India, I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the second edition of our iconic initiative, Women in Aviation India Awards, giving wings to dreams 2023.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and especially welcome those, because of them we have all gathered here, the special awardees. Every year we do the Women in Aviation award ceremony to recognize the good work done into the aviation, not only by pilots, but also to the lowest of the low ranks. Everybody deserves a great applaud. And this would not happen. This could not happen without the support of the ministry and the ministers. The secretary did say that he would be coming, but he is unable to join us. But I must thank Dr.V.K.Singh, who really deserves a great applaud, handling three ministries. And all the three ministries are very critical. But in spite of the fact, he has taken out time to facilitate you girls. Thank you very much, Dr. General V.K.Singh ji. Another thanks goes to Mr. 𝗙𝗵𝗲. Just on phone, I have been talking to him about women in aviation, and he has taken out, especially on a Saturday morning, so early, to come and facilitate you girls. Thank you very much. Girls, do you know your strength? I'm sure you would. There is no force more powerful than a woman determined to rise, and you have shown that strength within you. I think every woman should be able to show that strength within her. There is no limit to what we are. As women, I'm sure we can accomplish everything if we can take care of the house, the household, a husband, and the children. Simultaneously, we can take care of our dreams and what we want to achieve. Everything is within our powers, and your power is within you. Do you agree with it? If you ask a woman who she is, she will tell you who she is, whom she serves, and sometimes also what she does. Having worked for 51 years, 8 years back, I thought the difficult times where I worked, where women were not even present outside, in the offices, in sales, in marketing, I took a challenge even at that time. And that is what has inspired me today, 9 years back, that I should pass this message to each and every girl. And I cannot be alone to pass this message. I need ambassadors. And you girls are the ambassadors who have been acknowledged, who are there in this August hall to spread this message and tell the young girls that look, rise, rise and rise. I would here like to tell the August gathering that within the civil aviation there was a name of Mrs. Usha Pandey, which everybody knows. She's been transferred to her parent cadre, and what she's done there created a world infrastructure and is inviting people to come and educate the tribal and the remote area. And just a coincidence that she called me this morning and said, "Can you add a few more courses?" I said yes. To bring them up, I would do anything. And I want the same spirit with you all. I know that there are so many different jobs available within aviation, hospitality, and these are two supporting each other. We have created a booklet which is placed on the tables here, and I would like all the dignitaries to just show these books to the audience. This will be available, and I would be very glad if you, with your inputs, we can think of joining some more jobs. Thank everybody for coming, sparing a time on a Saturday. Thank you.
I would request 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗰𝗶, Director General, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, to please address the gathering.
Honorable Minister of State for Civil Aviation, Road Transport and Highways, General Dr.V.K.Singh, Mrs. Radha Bhatia, President of the organization, office bearers, esteemed members of the organization. It's indeed inspirational to hear the Saraswati Vandana at the start of any auspicious occasion. And when you listen to the strains of the Saraswati Vandana, an old adage comes to mind. That when you educate a man, you educate an individual, but when you educate a woman, you educate an entire generation. And I think nowhere is this more true than in aviation. And I think it's an oft-told story that the tremendous growth story, which is a synonym for Indian aviation, be it airlines, be it airports, be it infrastructure, and be it the ever-expanding horizons. All this is not possible without the vision, the inspiration, and the strength which is embodied and personified in this room. Because I always had the personal belief that women are incredible force multipliers. Numbers tell only part of the story. 15% women pilots, an ever expanding percentage of women in aviation and in hospitality. Numbers are flattering, but as we speak, the vision which has been brought on this platform is causing many young minds to dream of a vision where they would soar in the skies. And I think this metaphor is very apt, giving wings to dreams. And it would be a collective and individual responsibility of all of us, be it in the private sector, be it in government, and the policies of the government, where gender is at the scheme of things in a very, very focal and centralized manner. The entire planning of development programs, of all initiatives have women as their central theme. And under the guidance of Honorable Minister Civil Aviation and Honorable MOS Civil Aviation, I think this message has gone out loud and clear to everybody in the aviation community that we are equal stakeholders. I would just like to share a very personal note. This issue of gender has been kind of being debated in DGCA informally. We have about 11% women in DGCA. And I thought that instead of having a Sarkari meeting in a Sarkari fashion, we should do some brainstorming and hear from the women officers. What is the kind of perspective they have on gender? What is the kind of problems which they face? Because numbers are one side of the story. But all of us know that COVID was one of the most trying times for aviation the world over. And in terms of the representation of women in meaningful decision-making positions, in top management, I think we still have a long way to go. Part of the problem may be an embedded patriarchy in the male mindset. Something which is an attitudinal thing which needs to be tackled at a larger level. But systemically, I think as a regulator, when we looked within, we first thought that we must show the mirror to ourselves within our organization. And as we speak, there are a lot of thought processes which are churning. A lot of it will see the light of the day in early next year when we will come out with a framework for DGCA in terms of what we would do for gender, which is beyond paper and beyond an official circular. And then as a regulator, sir, we feel that we have a larger responsibility in terms of nudging the private environment. So how that nudge would come, in what kind of framework, we would also welcome suggestions from all of you, because I think we are not the repositories of all the wisdom in the world. And when you break new ground and go into uncharted territory, I think it's a very important thing that we take all the right steps in the manner in which it should be taken. I think this was some of the stray thoughts which I tried to collect together and place before all of you. And I would end by congratulating and wishing all the awardees Godspeed and success in all their endeavors to follow. And best wishes to all your families for supporting you the way they have done, because of which you have reached where you are. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's my great privilege to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, General Dr. V.K.Singh, Honorable Minister of State, Ministry of Civil Aviation and Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, to please come here and share the words with us.
𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗯𝗵𝗶 our very own from the Ministry of Aviation, 𝗂𝗽𝗱𝗁. We have Kiran Jain and Neelu Khatri, two women who are deeply involved in the aviation sector. All our guests who are present here, all the award winners who are here, a very good morning, a very good day to each one of you. It's a great day, the 9th edition of this program where women achievers in aviation are being honored, and through this it is being ensured that others get motivated. Awards are always meant for motivation, not only the person who receives it, but all people connected to that person, because it starts a chain reaction as to what they can do. I would say that women have come a long way where our country is concerned. Today, we find them in each and every field, whether it is defense forces, whether it is police forces, whether it is paramilitary, whether it is aviation, you name it. And so much so that a profession which was nowhere connected to, or people were very scared of going there, even some of the truckers and the taxis are being manned by women. It's a great field. And where aviation is concerned, great opportunities are available. The booklet has been taken out for many things. Where aviation is concerned, I would say that we find them in each and every segment of aviation. Whether, there are two sitting here who are representing two different segments. There are many sitting here who fly. There are many who are in various professions in aviation. And women in aviation, if I can say that in India, as percentage, we have maximum pilots in the world. Maximum pilots. For our menfolk who are sitting here, let me educate you a little bit. When you go to a party with your wife, you go and meet your friend, hail, well met, you get busy in talking. When you come back, and if you were to ask your wife, she will give you a detail of who was wearing what. That is the kind of eye for detail that women have. And I would say that that is what gets them doing much better when aviation is concerned. When anything to do with looking at screens, looking at computers, looking at all the gadgetry that the pilot has to see, they do very well. And I wish that there are more and more of them, so that people will feel comfortable, because they will have somebody on whom they can rely on, who will concentrate on flying rather than chatting, and will fly them safely from place A to place B. Today is a different world, and more people whom we motivate, especially are women. And as they say in Hindi, 𝗗𝗗 वहाँ रहा. Where there is will, there is way. And I've met many who aspire today to reach the topmost in the profession that they choose. And that's something great. In any case, every time you look at the exam results which come out every year, whether the board or otherwise, is the women who top. Without fail. Without fail. It is the women who are always topping, and that shows the diligence that they can get in. So if you are diligent, why not also represent yourself in the many professions that are available and contribute towards that 50% population that we have of our women in each and every job that we do. With these, I congratulate all those who are going to be honored today, and all those who are attending this. Thank you very much. Jared.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words, your motivating, inspiring words. They truly enlightened us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we have one more dignitary amongst us, and I would like to thank her for giving us her time today. Please put your hands together for Dr. 𝗗𝗵𝗶 𝗗𝗲. Ladies and gentlemen, she is currently the Principal Commissioner of Income Tax Assessment Charges.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, Dr.V.K.Singh, Director General of Civil Aviation, 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗯𝗍, 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗯𝗍, my colleagues, 𝗂𝗽𝗱 as well as 𝗙𝗵𝗲𝗀, and your friends. Indeed, it's a pleasure to be here today to discuss a very important issue of gender equality. As we all know, in 1948, Universal Declaration of Human Rights made gender equality a basic right. But gender inequality still continues. And in the words of General Secretary of United Nations, Antonio Guterres, it is an unfinished business of our times. The United Nations Sustainability Development Agenda 2030, under goal number 5, labels gender equality to be a socio-economic as well as an environment issue. Friends, during my assignment in a global agency, the International Civil Aviation Organization, I was surprised to find that there are certain prejudices that still exist. Not only was a brown person from a developing country, I was also a woman. There are hidden walls which are still there when it comes to nomination of women to important leadership positions. Wherever there will be important small groups or technical bodies set up, women would not be made a part of it. Having served in Government of India, I am proud to say I never faced any bias throughout my 30 years in civil service. I was the first to raise the question that why is this? When I raised the red flag, my question was glossed over, largely that this is not a part of the procedure, rules and procedures do not allow this. But however, they did identify that there is a malice in the system which needs to be corrected. And that's how, in 𝗖𝗄, for the first time, a small group on aviation was made, and yours faithfully was made the first chair. It was a very challenging task, and I definitely tried to do my best, learning from other human bodies, trying to understand what does a gender ambassador mean, what does a role model mean, what are the rules of gender. Finally, all this hard work led in 2021 to a declaration for women's empowerment from the Council, which was an indicative one. And in that, one important point, I won't go into the details, was that there must be gender-neutral language in all procedures. Today we are all women professionals. 𝗖𝗄, International Civil Aviation Organization, in 2016 has adopted a very important goal which many of us don't know. And this goal is to achieve gender equality by 2030. They call this the 𝗖𝗄 Gender Equality Program. There are various different targeted programs and specific international partnerships that have been made for this end. This includes about as much as 50% discount for women who are going for trainings in International Civil Aviation Organization. They are collecting data for licensed personnel and evaluating a gender report every year in 𝗖𝗄. There are 500 people working for International Civil Aviation Organization all over the world, and as of now, there are 33% of them are women. But please, don't be misled by this figure, because in the leadership position, it is less than 3%. 𝗖𝗄 has also been celebrating various International Women's Day, but what is really important is they've been celebrating what is known as a Global Gender Summit. The first such gender summit was held in South Africa in 2018, and the second summit was held this year in 2023 in Spain. You'll be happy to know that there were 3 people from India who represented women in aviation in that forum, and that was one lady from, if you can stand up please, from DGCA. There was another pilot from Air India. And of course, that was yours faithfully. So, what we managed to convey in the international forum that India, as you very well said, we not only have the maximum pilots in the world, but we are a country which is really aspiring to allow women to enter into our boardrooms, to be CEOs, and to be the forefront leaders, which was very well recognized by women from 90 countries who participated in this event. But what was the key result of this event? And again, I'm very happy to hear my esteemed colleague from the DGCA, Mr. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗶, the DG, say that they are working on a framework. So this Global Aviation Summit has called for a call for action. A call for action by aviation stakeholders to come up with a specific gender statistics. It talks that these are very important to really understand the gender gap and to start making policies in this regard. They talk about a gender responsive budgeting. They talk about gender mainstreaming. They talk about elimination and mitigation of stereotypes, biases. And again, to share with colleagues here, friends here, that when these 90 women gather together in the summit, we realize that these biases exist whether it is in the global south or the global north. Human beings are just the same everywhere. So there are many glass ceilings to be broken, many biases to be overcome. And finally, there has to be a commitment from the senior management to maintain a diverse talent at the executive management level. I would like to use this particular platform to convey to you some hard statistics. First of all, as per United Nations, in 2019, only 39% of the women formed a part of the workforce. The World Economic Forum, in the Global Gender Gap Report of 2022, says that it will take 132 years to close the gender gap. And finally, China, a country we compete with, has 50% workforce as women. If we want to be on the same stage as China, we cannot be standing on one foot. We have to have both our feet. We have to have 50% women. And with that note, I'd like to end today. Thank you for your attention.
and all the members present here, a very good morning to all. It's really a proud moment for me to get Lifetime Achievement Award from Women in Aerospace and Aviation. Unless otherwise, we felicitate the women of our country. We have no means to prosper. And Women in Aviation India has done the same thing by celebrating the achievements of womenhood. Today I am really happy to see all the women achievers of Wings of Dreams 2023. And for me, really it's a proud moment to receive it from General Dr.V.K.Singh sir, where when I was working for these systems, sir was there in the defense as the pioneer there. And making systems for the country was a real proud moment for me. And definitely this platform gives the message that we need to empower and enrich our women so that they come, they fly with their wings. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and selecting me for this award. Thank you all.
Where we have many women leaders who basically broken the glass ceiling, as they say. They've already ascended to heights that many of us aspire to. The leading airports, internationally we have many women leaders who are now leading airlines. Most recently, Qantas appointed a lady as their CEO, Air France-KLM, so airlines of that level are appointing CEOs as women. One of the reasons that they do it is that we find that consistently on several leadership metrics, women score at least as good or higher than men. As General Singh mentioned, their attention to detail, their emotional intelligence, their resilience, like when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Their capacity to understand and empathize with their employees and feel and lead the organization forward. So there are tremendous qualities that women have displayed and broken the glass ceiling. In India, we obviously have this amazing team who recently were leading and project managers for the moon landing. So across several industries, women have excelled. So I would just like to congratulate all of you once again for this amazing achievement. You have great women leaders amongst you, around you. So make sure that you utilize them as mentors to greater heights in your careers. And like it says, giving wings to dream. All I would say is dream big. Thank you.
Today, this is so good to see such bright faces. Thank you so much, Dr.V.K. Singh, for coming over and gracing this event. Devdaji, thank you so much for being here with us. And not possible without Mrs. �𝗲𝗄𝗧, my good friend Kiran, who's the force behind the Women in Aviation. Dear guests, I must say this is a topic very, very close to our heart, and I'm sure that you coming on a Saturday here, it says the same thing. It's actually a no-brainer that we have to get more and more women in the aviation sector. So I'll just give a very small analogy on what it means, what the aviation sector means in India. And I'm sure all of you are stalwarts on this industry and you know about it. The population of India, at least the middle class and the lower middle class who can afford to fly at least once a year, is between 600 to 800 million people. And even if one person buys one ticket for a travel per year, it means we can at least 3 times see the growth in the aviation sector. Now, if that be the trajectory of growth for this industry over the next 10 to 15 years, it just is so imperative to have the women force more and more whether it's the engineering, whether it's the pilots, whether it's the ATC, crew, cabin crew, etc., etc. Somehow that part has been missed, although the good part is that you still have a very strong pilot force in India. But then if you look at the percentage, it's still 15%. So while I feel very happy and proud to have 15% women pilots here, it's important that we continue to work towards getting more and more people in the women section. Thank you so much for coming over here, and it's congratulations to all the awardees as well. Have a very nice day. Thank you.
Thank all of you for being here. Most importantly, in my role as the Vice President and the Treasurer of Women in Aviation, it's important that I do some house business, which is basically, there might be a question in your head, how exactly were all these awardees awarded, right? So just to be absolutely transparent, we have a jury system. It is a jury system in which we receive applications. Members of our jury, if you're interested, were Mr. 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗎, who has a very rich history working in India, is now retired in Switzerland, was the CEO of Bangalore Airport and also of Delhi International Airport. Mrs. 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗎, Mr. 𝗂𝗽𝗱, who you're all familiar with, Mr. 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗎, 𝗂𝗽𝗱 was here with us, and Mr. 𝗂𝗽𝗱. So this was the panel which decided who are the awardees to be here tonight, this morning, and grace the stage. So thank you very much to each and every one of you for being here. It's been my immense pleasure to be a part of this group from the very beginning, almost 10 years ago now, when we weren't really sure how to do this, but I'm glad to see that it has grown leaps and bounds. So thank you for that. And my parting words are actually something inspired by what I read this morning. I have a habit of reading in the morning because God only knows what happens to me the minute I leave my house. Anything can happen when you're trying to build an airport. That's what I'm trying to do with my super colleagues. It's interesting, I read this little story about what it is, to be a woman, or to be not just a woman, but something other than the norm. So when you, I don't cook, but let's assume I cook, I'll act like I cook. So, when you have 3 cups of rice, you don't essentially add 3 cups of salt to balance it, right? In this room, maybe 10,000 square feet odd. What's illuminating it? A very small thing, it's the light. So, you guys, all of us, men or women, I actually am very fair in that. I don't really think we can run the world as women alone. We need the absolute support of our male counterparts, husbands, boyfriends, spouses, whatever. It's incredibly, incredibly important that we go hand in hand. But at the end of the day, it's important that each one of us considers ourselves as that significant drop of salt or that significant bulb that actually changed the taste or lit up the room. So that kind of inspired me this morning. And I encourage all of you to find these kind of quirky quotes because they do tend to stick in your brain somewhere. And you do think about it all day long. And at the end of the day, you feel that you've done justice not just to the quote, but for the fact that you've delivered what you got up to do every morning. So with that, I'd like to thank each and every one of you and a huge round of applause. It's my immense pleasure to serve on Women in Aviation. And Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here.